Digging Deeper Without the Coalface, the podcast that shares the incredible stories of the talented and passionate people in our industry. And it's now time for this week's episode of Digging Deeper Without the Coalface. It's your host, Jessica Rouse.
Now, this is the first of some bonus content that we're putting out for the Digging Deeper Without the Coalface podcast. We caught up with so many awesome people at the New South Wales Mining HSEC Conference. We've got so much content to share, so we're going to put it up in between episodes as some bonus content. The first chat we're going to share with you is with the one and only Ngaire Baker. She has been in the mining industry for years. Right now, she's working for Develop, spent a lot of time in the Hunter Valley, which is where we met.
I guess I really don't know an awful lot about your very start in mining. Like, I know you were a journalist. Take me back to how it all sort of played out.
Sure. I was on my way to be a foreign correspondent in the UK. Had a job lined up, and I wanted to go to Perth to watch the America's Cup because I was at school when we won the America's Cup, but there was another one. So I thought, well, I'll go via Perth. Yeah. So I went to Perth and stayed with some family friends and had a job lined up overseas. So it was only supposed to be sort of a week or so in Perth, and off I went and watched the America's Cup and over to London. And my friends said on the Sunday, we're going down to play tennis. Do you want to come? And I went, sure, I love tennis. So we went down to the City Beach Tennis Club, and there were all these couples, and then all of a sudden this yellow Land Cruiser turns up. And this guy jumps out with white shorts, white shirt, very formal tennis club, but black socks. And I thought, oh, who wears black socks to tennis? Where does he come from? Anyway, they paired us up because we were the only two single people. Yeah. And at the end of and we thrashed them all. We beat everybody. And he said at the end of it, do you want to go and have a drink? And I said, no, don't. You felt like saying, you've got black socks on, I'm not going with you. But I didn't. I said, no, look, thank you. I'm only here for a week. I'm heading to London. And he said, okay. So the following Sunday I went back to tennis and he was there again, and we went and had a drink, and his name's Rod and he's a mining engineer, and we got married and we went to Kalgoorlie.
There you go.
I never got to London and
my goodness.
Well, I've been to London since, but I never got to be a foreign correspondent. So in Kalgoorlie I got transferred there with the West Australian paper, and I was working at the Kalgoorlie Miner. And on weekends I'd do the ABC radio, sport report, and sport mad, so I was in everything from water polo to hockey to netball to you name it, I played it and reported on it. And I was in the pub one night, because that's another thing you do in Kalgoorlie. If you don't play sport, you go to the pub.
At the pub.
Yeah. And this voice called out to me, and it was a guy I went to school with. And he was a mining engineer, which I didn't even know, because when I was at uni we didn't mix with mining engineers.
That was a completely different...
they were just on a different part of the campus. So I was talking to him and I said, what do you do? And he said, I run an explosives plant here in Kalgoorlie. And he said, you should come and work with me. And I said, no, I'm a journalist. He said, nah, come on, I pay more. And it's really exciting and you get to blow things up. And I said, all right, leave it with me. I'll go and talk to Rod. So I went home and I said, Rod, I've been, asked to go. And he said, oh, that'll be interesting. He said, why don't you give it a go? And I said, okay. So I rang him up and I started at the ground bottom. I learnt from ground up all about explosives through my friend. And then Rod got transferred, so we had to leave Kalgoorlie. And the next town we went to, or next mine we went to, every time Rod got promoted, I went with him. And they needed someone to go and talk to the community, because the mine that we were at, I won't say where, but had some contentious issues with neighbours. And coming from a rural background, I come from Western Queensland, they thought, well, no, you can go and talk to them. You'll be good at that. So was my second job in mining. I'd gone from explosives to dealing with the community, and that was early 1980s. Yeah. Before stakeholder engagement, before community relations, before any of those taglines were given to it, I was doing it. Yeah. And it helped with that mine to start that. It was a brand new mine. It started it. It kept going, and then Rod got promoted, and we moved again. And the next job was in a mine again.
Yeah.
I was a surveyor's assistant. I was worked in the lab until I kept mucking up the assay, so they got me out of the lab, put me back out in the dirt. That was a copper mine in South Australia. And then to iron ore.
Yeah.
And in the iron ore I worked in community relations again. Had an amazing boss who'd come from 20 years in Newman with BHP, and what he didn't know about communications, community, media, it's not worth knowing if Trevor didn't know it.
Yeah.
He was my best boss ever in terms of learning from him. Ex-journo from Yorkshire in England. Yeah. All his brothers and father, all underground coal miners, but he became a journo.
Yeah.
So that's sort of how it started. Meeting Rod, marrying a mining engineer, I had no choice really. I just fell into it. And everywhere I went, there was always somebody that wanted somebody written, something organised, whether it was PR, whether it was community, whether it was a visiting politician. I just knew how to make that happen.
Yeah.
Because it's just who I am, I suppose. It's just the skills I learnt growing up.
And I guess all of that experience at the different sites, you know, moving from one to the next, each of those would have been a completely different operation and situation, and that would have all helped you with the next job.
Yeah. And quite often I was the only one in that town that could do that.
Yeah.
And some of these towns were closed mining towns, which meant the company owned the town. So you only lived there if you worked for the company.
Yep.
So it was a whole different sort of scenario as well, because you couldn't go outside the town to get those resources because you were often in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So you were the resource. When we had a Category 4 cyclone, we had media, we had just people coming left, right and centre wanting a piece of what was going on, from the Today Show through to all these other national media shows. And we had nobody. I was in the town. Our house we lost part of our roof. Cars were demolished. This was a big cyclone to come inland in 1996. I was also 7 months pregnant.
Oh, wow.
So my boss sent over a helicopter and said, get in the helicopter and go and take photos. I went, sure, no. But I did. And then because we were flooded in as well. We had no power, we were flooded. But because it was a closed mining town, we had to rely on our own resources to get things moving. And my husband at the time was the mine manager or general manager, so he managed that whole thing, and then the Army or Air Force turned up with generators, and so you just become very resourceful, I suppose, and that's how I've evolved, or the roles have evolved, because I've had to be resourceful. I've had to come up with ways of doing things that have never been done before. I had a general manager a couple of years ago here in the Hunter say to me, when I'd gone into his office with something, an idea or something I was working on, and he said, "Ngaire, do you ever stop?" And I said, "Stop what?" And he said, "Stop coming. Where do these ideas come from?" He said, "You amaze me. You just keep coming up with them."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, I don't know. It's just I see a situation, I draw on my knowledge, and then I make it happen."
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where I get my inspiration. And at my age, I still go to work every day. And I still come up with things that have not been done. Yeah. Or I go to my new GM now and say, could we do this? Or what about this? And you go, that's a great idea. Yeah. Yeah, go for it. Yeah. I've only once in my career had a general manager who stopped me doing things. But I found ways around that.
Yeah.
I left.
That'll do it. So Cyclone, you had your son. Yeah, and then you eventually ended up in the Hunter Valley.
Yeah, 19 years ago. Yeah. When Martin was 10, we were at a diamond mine on the Gibb River Road in the Kimberley. Yep. And we had a house in Broome, and I'd homeschool Martin at the mine, and then a couple of days a week we'd go into Broome and he'd go to a normal school so that he could see what goes on in normal schools as he was getting older. I also coached swimming. I was a swimming coach because he was a swimmer. Yep. So we'd go to swimming club, and I also got him into soccer because I wanted him to, play with kids. Yeah. Because he was mixing a lot with adults, and So, and it was one of the days in Broome, I think it was after surf club one Sunday, and I just said to Rod, we've got to get this kid somewhere normal. You know, he's got to have mates, and he didn't really know his family, his extended family.
Yeah.
And Rod's from Broken Hill, born and bred, so his parents were there, and brother in Brisbane, my father is in Brisbane, my mother's here in the Valley, and so we decided the Hunter Valley would be a good spot.
Yeah.
So I came and Martin settled in and Rod didn't.
So what happened to Rod?
Yeah, he's retired in Exmouth now.
Oh, there you go.
No, he did look at it, but coal was never his passion.
Yeah, okay.
He's, for various reasons. So we just grew apart, unfortunately. And
life happens.
Yeah, but we're still best of mates. And if I have a mining problem, or if something comes up, or, you know, something that I hear in a meeting or I don't understand, and, you know, I ring him or I text him and say, hey, what does this mean and how do I get around it? Or, you know, he's a great resource.
Yeah.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
Yes.
And ending up in coal, you spent so much time in minerals and iron ore. How different was stepping into the coal space?
Extremely. It was daunting.
Yeah.
Because I'd heard, again, from Rod how closed shop coal was. And Rod was a very experienced mining engineer, open cut. He wouldn't go underground after working in Broken Hill. He always wanted to stay in open cut. And he used to say, you've got to be born into coal to work in coal. You know, you've got to have that history. And I'd heard it and, you know, I thought, can't be that bad. Yeah, it's a whole different culture. It really is.
Okay.
And it took a long time to get used to it. Well, coming from Western Australia is completely different to New South Wales when it comes to mining. Sure, the technology is the same, the professions are the same. It's just the environments are different. I think New South Wales coal is so lucky because you've got Hunter Valley, you've got Beach, you've got Sydney. In the Pilbara, you've got Pannawonica. And 2.5 hours you can go to Karratha and get your groceries.
Yeah.
You know, you get a toothache, it's a long drive to the dentist. We didn't think of using a carpenter, as referred to this morning at the HSEC conference. Had I known at the time. So yeah, I think there's a lot of factors that make the Hunter Valley so unique. And once I found my feet, I started off as a contractor because I had Martin, who was 10 at the time, and he was swimming, so I was the publicity officer for the swimming club. Then he played rugby and I was a team manager, and, you know, I can't just be the single mother trying to raise a child and working. I had to get involved in everything else. So I finally found my feet and I enjoyed it and I loved it. And the more I got involved with it and the more I got to know people and the community, the better it got. And that's why I stayed in it for so long. And, you know, the role I was in for 7 years was extremely special to me because, you know, no one expected Mount Pleasant to start. No one. Yeah. And when we had such a fantastic team under Richard Bailey, you know, a Hunter Valley local, and Steve Fordham from BlackRock, you know, we had such amazing people. It was just a great place to be a part of, and I still feel a connection to Mount Pleasant, and I dare say I always will. But it was time to move on, and it's been a great journey in coal. I've loved it, and I miss it. I miss the environment. It's so different where I am now. Yeah. But it was time for a new challenge, and I love a new challenge.
Oh gosh, yeah. Life's boring without a new challenge.
But when I was in coal, Martin decided he wanted to go to boarding school, so I took a few roles which saw me go to Russia.
Oh wow!
And China and South America.
So in mines over there.
Yeah,
that's
working.
So cool.
I was doing different things, from producing videos about blasting with Orica and all sorts of different things. Yeah. So I've had experiences that if I wrote them in a book or if I had photos, well, I have photos, but, you know, people would read it and say, oh, really? Seriously? I have one colleague who gave my farewell speech when I left Mount Pleasant, and he said, the amount of people you know and the things you've done, you must be 100.
Don't know if that's a compliment or not.
Yeah, well, yeah. Sometimes I feel 100, but no, I'm not there yet. But thanks anyway, Paul O'Loughlin, if you're listening. Great man. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey made possible by mining.
Yeah.
I've been mentoring women in mining for 11 years. I was part of the very first mentoring program.
Yep.
And I still love it. And I'm mentoring a lady at my current work. Only started last week, a young member of one of our teams, and I saw she needed some guidance, and I asked our general manager, and he said, "I've been waiting for you to say that." Yeah. So, you know, I've now got 2 mentees this year.
Yeah. I mean, you've got so much experience, and you've been to so many sites, interacted with so many different people. It'd be a waste for you to not share that wisdom with someone.
Well, I try and listen. You know, people say to me,
Yes.
"How do you do your job? How are you so good at what you do?" And I'm not just saying that, but people have said that to me.
Oh, they've said it to me too.
And I remember at Mount Pleasant once when I was out talking to the community, this quite irate community member said, "Are you listening to me?" You know, raised voice and everything. I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, you're not saying anything." And I said, "No, that's because I'm listening." Oh. And his shoulders went down.
Yeah.
His whole personality changed because he realised I was actually listening to him.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people don't do.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of communicators don't do it. A lot of stakeholder engagement people don't do it.
Yeah.
But that's the key to it. To me, it works for me. I listen to people, I take that, and that's when I act, or, you know, I work with them to come to a resolution. And that's why, you know, I have been successful in what I do and continue to be successful.
And you can see the results of that. I mean, I was working as a journalist in the Upper Hunter when Mount Pleasant was getting off the ground, and we met each other. And I remember, you know, you telling me about some of the community members that you were interacting with at the time, and they were quite irate, and it was quite, you know, we don't want this in our backyard. But you look back now, when you left Mount Pleasant, as you said before, those same people have gone, "Thank you for listening and being there and helping us with what we needed."
Yeah. They actually rang me.
Yeah.
And when they rang, I saw their numbers. I'm going, "Oh, no, not a complaint on my list."
Heart drops.
And one of them actually said, "I know you're expecting me to complain." He said, "But I'm not ringing you about that." He said, "I'm ringing to say thank you."
Yeah.
He said, "You are, you know, you've been genuine all along. You've done what you've always said you were going to do." He said, "And I apologise for how rude I have been to you." And I was in tears. And, you know, it really hit home that, you know, what we do in mining every day matters.
Exactly.
To everybody.
Yeah.
Whether you're across the road from it, around the corner, it matters. And we should take note of it. And, you know, I'm a bit of a loud voice when it comes to community is important, stakeholder engagement is important, and, you know, people put environment and community together, or they'll tack a community on there, and I'm so against that. Enviros are great people. I've got some fantastic friends who are Enviros, but they don't do community at university. I didn't do Enviro when I did my social science studies.
Yeah.
So butt out.
And it is so crucial.
Leave it to the experts.
Yeah, exactly. It is so crucial. I mean, in my job, I have the privilege of talking to so many people in the community and people who run businesses in the community. And, you know, when a mine is on your doorstep, it's so important to have that good, strong relationship and that open communication.
Yeah. And you work together as a team.
Exactly.
And that's why Mount Pleasant was successful, because from the general manager through to the Enviro team, to me, to the mining engineers, to the geologists, to everyone else that was part of that team, we worked together.
Yeah.
And that's what made us successful. Sure, they followed my lead sometimes, or I followed their lead. But if I needed an Enviro to come with me, there was always an Enviro available to come and talk to the community with me.
Yeah.
Or show them a plan. Sometimes they want to see it on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they just want someone to listen to them.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's why I enjoyed and stayed for as long as I did.
Yeah.
But my new community is even better.
Oh, come on. The Hunter Valley's the best.
No. It's yes, it is, but but I've got a great community that I'm working with down in the Southern Tablelands, and they're very unique.
Yeah.
Very unique part of the world. Didn't even know it existed, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you drive to Canberra and you don't look left.
Yeah, that's right.
You look at Lake George and we're behind Lake George, basically.
Yeah.
But, I never realised that whole area was founded on copper.
Yeah.
There's copper mines all through, old copper workings all through the mountains down there.
Yeah, there you
1800s.
go. Wow.
Yeah, so
That's so cool.
So we're having a lot of fun and a few challenges, and finally shipping some concentrate. So it's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, completely different landscape to open cut, being underground and working with a lot of West Australian-based miners and professionals. So back to where I felt really comfortable in WA, working with those guys around Kalgoorlie and the goldfields. So it's sort of seems like it's gone full circle.
Yeah,
gone back to sort of because this Develop is a WA company.
Yeah.
Led by Bill Bowman, our managing director, and it's exciting.
Yeah,
I think mining's exciting. The speakers at the HSEC conference here today were talking about the future and what's involved, and it is exciting. But we've still got to be so conscious of how we treat people.
Yeah.
And each other, and people.
And I guess looking ahead about the future of mining, whether that be coal or critical minerals or whatever it may be, do you see quite a strong future?
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, and coal's still got a future.
Mm.
You know, I know all the reasons why people want it to stop, but it can't right now.
No.
It can't. And it can't for probably the next 10, 15, 20, maybe 20 years. I'm no scientist. But the future for metalliferous, for the minerals that we're mining, we're a polymetallic mine, so we copper, zinc, lead, silver, and gold. The future is bright because we need those metals in everyday life.
Yeah.
And we need the professionals. We've got a strong drive, and a lot of my time is working with careers advisors, New South Wales Minerals Council as well. To educate, to encourage students to look into mining, to still come to mining, even though it's hasn't had the best press of over the years. But we're engaging a lot with universities and schools around the area to say, look, you've got a mine that's probably only a half an hour, 40 minutes from your home. You can come here and work on a roster, earn really good money, get great experience, and you can go home every night. You don't have to fly in, fly out. You don't have to live somewhere else.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think it's got a bright future. And we've got some really great engagement with University of Wollongong and University of New South Wales, ANU in Canberra, to get some students. Big vacation program happening at the moment with
awesome.
With students. So I think the future is good, and I think we've got some bright young minds. I mean, you just have to come to a conference like this one and listen to the pitch and listen to those 6 bright minds. That's our future.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. I'm not going anywhere.
No. If you ever go anywhere, it's going to be a sad day.
No, I have no intention. It's, people say, "Oh, you're retiring soon." I went, "Why?
Not a chance.
Why? Why would I retire?
Exactly.
I love what I do." And I think there was a photo that someone took, and I didn't know they were taking it at the Voice for Mining Family Day recently. And I looked at it, and normally, you look at a photo of yourself and you go, ugh, you find all the things wrong with it. And I found a few. But the thing that struck me was I was talking to 2 people just that were stopped by the Develop stand, and someone had taken this photo unbeknownst to me, and when I looked at it, I thought that just to me sums up that if you do something you love, you never have to work it, or you work it, I can't think of the saying now, you'll never have to work a day in your life.
Exactly.
And that is why I'm in mining.
Yeah.
That photo is, and I actually, very vain of me, but I want to put that on a poster.
Yeah.
And I want to put that saying underneath it, because it just is why I go to work every day, why I wake up at 4:30.
That's right, in the freezing cold.
Don't start me on the cold. It's cold. I was wearing thermals in March, so if that gives you any indication of how cold it is down there, and my general manager still laughs. He said he's doing a State of the Nation address in the next couple of weeks, and he said to one of the crews, hopefully it'll be warm enough, we'll do your crew outside. I said, what, on the 25th of January? And he just looked at me and he said, you'll still be wearing thermals.
For someone who thought, I'm in the Hunter Valley, I know what cold is like, it'll be fine.
Well, it got cold in Muswellbrook.
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah, not like this. I'm sorry, but I don't know. It's got its own weather zone, this little area of the southern tablelands near Tarago. It's a whole unique environment.
Well, you have many more years of being in that unique cold environment to go.
Thanks, Jess. At least I've got the right jacket now.
Exactly. Ngaire, it's been so awesome to sit down with you. Thank you for jumping on the podcast.
Thanks, Jess. Appreciate it.
Well, we hope you enjoyed that bonus content. There will be plenty more to come in the meantime. More episodes of Digging Deeper with At the Coalface are on their way. If you've missed any episodes or you want to catch up or have a re-listen, you can download the episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and check them out via our website. Please leave us a rating and a review as well. That would be much appreciated. And thanks for listening to Digging Deeper with At the Coalface.